In less than 48 hours, the All Blacks take on Argentina in an attempt to win their sixth rugby championship in 7 years. So let's have a look at the history of results between these two teams. Now, since 1985, when the All Blacks and Argentina were playing in official test matches, they've played each other 11 times in Argentina. The All Blacks have won 10 and one resulted in a draw. The draw came back in 1985 when a certain Hugo Porter was playing for Argentina. He's a legend of the game there. He's the Dan Carter, or the Nas Botha, if you will, of Argentine rugby. Now, more recently, though, since the Rugby Championship began in 2012, the All Blacks are a perfect 5 from 5 in Argentina. The last 4 games have been very similar in scoreline, with the All Blacks scoring between 33 and 36 points, while Argentina had scored between 10 and 17 points. So if you think that's similar, the last 2 outings especially have been very similar in that the All Blacks have taken a 29-3 lead going into the second half, only to have a very disappointing second half, only score 1 try and 36 points in total for the 2 games. So very similar. So the All Blacks, even though they haven't lost in Argentina, they're certainly not taking this game lightly, especially when you consider what happened 2 weeks ago against South Africa. And of course, Argentina beat Australia in Australia for the first time in 35 years. So a lot of strange and unusual things have been happening in the Rugby Championship since then. Now, as a fan, I want to know how Stephen Hanson's team will respond to a loss. Now, it's only happened 7 times under his watch, but it will be interesting to see, looking back, how they have actually responded. Okay, so let's go back to the last 5, let's say, not all 7. Back in 2015, we lost to Australia in Sydney, 19-27, I think the score was. And Nehe Milner-Skudder was playing his first game. He scored 2 tries. He played great, but the rest of the team did not, and we lost. We responded a week later with a win against the same opposition, against Australia at Eden Park, with a 41-13 win. So that's a check, a tick mark for the All Blacks there. Okay, so in 2016, we lost to Ireland. But we lost to Ireland, and we responded a week later with a big win against Italy, 68-10. But to be fair, a lot of the players involved in the Irish test weren't involved in the Italy test, so you can't really make any inference there about how we respond to losses. Now, in 2017, we lost, of course, the second test against the Lions after Sonny Bill was sent off for a shoulder charge to the head. Yeah, thanks, Sonny Bill. Anyway, so we lost that game. We responded with that loss by playing probably our worst game in the series. We drew 15-all, so we didn't lose, but we had a terrible game. Other than the 2 tries we scored in the first sort of 10 minutes of the game, our performance was subpar. It was very poor. And so our response on that occasion was not so great. Okay, now in 2017, we lost to Australia as well in Brisbane after it was really a dead rubber Bledisloe Cup test. So it didn't mean anything, but it's interesting. How did we respond to it? Well, we didn't play until an official test match until 3 weeks later against France. We beat them by 20, but there's such a big gap between games that you can't really make any correlation between what happened in the loss, what happened in the next game. So I guess you can tell there's no clear trend after a loss. So sometimes we do well, sometimes we don't. So we can't say, oh, just because we lost, that means we're going to automatically play better. That's not necessarily the case. And I know a lot of the players are saying they're jumping out of their skins to play, especially after the loss against South Africa. But, we'll see. They just have to make sure that their excitement to play doesn't border on over-exuberance and penalties and ill discipline. Okay, so even the most confident team like the All Blacks, and I suspect that they are one of the more confident teams in world sport, I bet they have lost at least a little bit of confidence. Now, when you lose a little bit of confidence, you need a few things. One of them, you need inspirational leaders. And of course, you need your best players in the game. Well, Kieran Reid is not available in the test against Argentina, so he's our captain and he's one of our best players. So losing him puts more pressure on the leadership group, like Sam Whitelock, who is the captain on Sunday, but also others around him, Ben Smith, Beauden Barrett, who else is there, son? Sam Cane, and others in the leadership group. Really puts pressure on them to perform, to allow the younger players to feel comfortable about the game and put out a good performance. Now, there is another concern I have, is the absence of Brodie Retallick. Now, of course, him not playing is a huge deal for the All Blacks, for any team really. But when you think about it, three of our last 4 losses have come when Brodie Retallick has not played. And we all know what he brings to the table, both on attack, him running the ball, and also on defence, his ability to tackle, his ability to win ball at rucks and mauls, and he's just ferocious. He's got probably the biggest engine out of all the All Black players. So losing those 2 guys and Liam Squire to injury, and most recently losing Damien McKenzie, he's had to go home for a family bereavement. So that takes a little bit of sting out of our reserves, which is a little bit of a concern, especially when the All Blacks generally look to up the pace in the last 20 minutes of the game. So not having him is a concern. However, it's not all bad news for the All Blacks. For the first time this year, hooray, we've got the preferred midfield combination. We've got Ryan Crotty and Sonny Bill Williams. Now, Sonny Bill, of course, he won't be back to 100%, I'd say. Maybe he'll be a bit rusty, but I think he brings a heck of a lot to the table in terms of his strong running, his offloading ability, and just his general X-factor ability. So having him in the lineup is great. Not only that, but Beauden Barrett returns as first 5. Now, he did not play against Argentina earlier this year, 3 weeks ago. Neither did Rico Ioane. And so you'd have to say that Argentina really have their hands full trying to contain our backline. And then you have Ben Smith returning back to fullback. Geordie Barrett is thankfully not in the team. And Naholo returns to the right wing. So I think our backs look more dangerous this week. And I think more so against Argentina, who haven't really faced that lineup so far this year. So I think Argentina really have their hands full in trying to contain those guys. So it's up to our forward pack. It's up to the likes of Luke Whitelock, Sam Whitelock, our type 5, and our loose forwards to really get enough ball, enough quality and quick ball in order for our backs to thrive. Now, the trend is that has happened over the last few years in Argentina is that the All Blacks get off to a fast start. They score a lot of points, a lot of tries, and then they kind of the rest of the way. And hopefully, the All Blacks are hoping anyway that they can put 2 great halves together. So we're not having to worry about, are we going to hang on to the win? Are we going to win? Period. But something that the All Blacks have not done this year yet is put a great first half followed by a great second half together in the same game. And that's going to be a key. And certainly as an All Black fan, I hope that the game doesn't come down to goal kicking because we might be in trouble. I've had a look at other results in previous years, and Beauden Barrett has struggled with his kicking in more than just a few games. So let's just hope it doesn't come down to goal kicking. I still believe the All Blacks will win. I think we'll win 37-18, but it's going to be a heck of a game. And if we are to win this game, we have to get off to a great start, but then continue that great start at the end. A lot easier said than done. Time will tell, but I believe that we have the goods to win and to win our 6th rugby championship in 7 years. So good luck, All Blacks, and I'll see you in a few days. See you later.